Oh, bang.
Yay.
Here we go.
I'm not nobody's supposed to get my feelings. Okay. Right, so apologies for, oh no, we've got anybody for public. Right, apologies.
We have apologies from Councillor Collins, Councillor Lawley and Councillor Dry.
That's one. Any declarations of interest? Any minutes of the last meeting? Yes.
Obviously, the question is whether it's one of the items. Really say that. Part of the chairman, he was right.
Yeah.
So. He will say.
Okay.
We're not asking for a decision on that, it's purely.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, item 4, oh sorry, was that minutes agreed?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Sorry, Robin?
Yeah, where it says requested that I'd be meaning that I wouldn't be voted against the proposal, that I wouldn't be voting against it. At the bottom of the page of the next set of minutes. Vote. That didn't read like it did any. Read like actually conscious I didn't want to vote against the proposal.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think I made that clear.
You get that?
Yeah. On the bottom of the minutes, it counts actually figured that he admitted that he did not want to vote. I planned to vote against what he admitted that I voted against it. It's slightly different, really.
That's fine, yeah. That's fine, yeah.
I probably said something similar to that as well, though, but
I think it's important, isn't it? So that's fine. Right, item 4. Sorry, can we do a vote so the minutes are okay other than what Robin has just corrected? So we can bring those back to next meeting, not to be agreed with the change. Or
we can agree.
It's a very minor change.
We can agree that now.
It's
Yeah.
two words corrected.
Okay, we have a vote after those, please. Yes, thank you. Okay, so item 4, minutes of communication strategy. Happy to receive.
You haven't received it?
Item 5, next week of update, over to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us back. And this is Jill, she's one of the trustees, Project Streetline. So I can't remember the date of our last meeting, so I was trying to remember. Sorry?
It's warm.
It was what I just said. Well, it was warm because I cycled.
Yeah.
I remember it being warm and light.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it was maybe September time. But since then, I'm just going to fill in a little about PSL and then I'll talk about what we've been doing. So we've actually now meeting again in person with the young people. Buckingham Parish Church, which I'm a member of, I work quite closely with the youth worker there, and they were running a youth cafe at the centre opposite Burnley Close. They didn't have enough volunteers to keep it running, and asked if PSL would like to run it instead. So I was like, yes, please. massive bonus for us. So we've still got Sam, who's the youth worker, involved in helping. He's been helping at PSL since he's been here for the last couple of years. So we now meet every Tuesday in term time after school until 5 p.m. The youth cafe had been running, it was more of a drop in and grab and go kind of job. So you could stay if you wanted. On quite a few occasions, sadly, there wasn't enough volunteers to comply with safeguarding. And on those occasions we just sort of had a table at the front and it was grab a toasty and hi and how you doing, bye. But since PSL's been taken over, we've been able to engage a lot more. A lot of them have been staying. We've had to ask them to leave at 5 o'clock, which has been really encouraging. We started back this term last Tuesday, just gone, and we had 30 young people turn up, which is absolutely amazing. We were averaging 25 to 30 young people. We did feel a need. We started to get to know some of the young people and realised there was probably a need to still give them food. So we've been continuing the free toasties and hot chocolate when it's winter and milkshakes when it's summer. And that's gone down really, really well. we did some Christmas food, just when we finished up at Christmas, so I did sausage rolls and bits of Christmas food. And when all the young people came in, they just swarmed to the table. It was absolutely hysterical. They all just like ran to it, and then they left 5 minutes later, and there was one sausage left or something. But it was really encouraging to see them enjoying the Christmas spirit, as it were. So we've got nearly all of our regular helpers back that we used to help us on a Friday evening. So it's been really encouraging and going really well. So we're obviously going to continue doing that. I do need to update the website. If any of you've been on, it still says we meet on a Friday evening. But I've got no internet at home and I can't set it to my phone for some reason. So as soon as I get my internet back at home, I'll be getting that sorted out. From a outreach point of view, Sam and I have been going out every month, meeting the young people. Unfortunately, because the skate park wasn't finished when we thought it was in November, we've not been able to be at the skate park. But we have kind of set up shop just outside Gansterton's, between Gansterton's and the bridge, start of the bridge. So we are there, we just have a little table, and we've been giving out hot chocolate, and cakes. Well, we haven't done cakes every time. I realised that if you give a young person a drink and a cake and then you ask them a question, they're halfway through eating a cake. I was like, this doesn't really work. So I'm not giving them cakes out every time, but we are doing a drink every time. And obviously recently it's been cold, so they've been having hot chocolate, which I've got down to a tea now. We went today, so I'll just give you today as an example. We spoke to 50 young people.
Wow.
I know this because I made 5 litres of hot chocolate, and each cup takes 200 mils. So
Wow.
we've got rid of 50 cups of hot chocolate and spoke to all of them. The feedback that they've given me when I've asked what young people want in the area, they don't always understand the question. Some of them just say, I want to go ice skating. I'm like, okay, that can't really get an ice rink in Buckingham, sadly, but that's some activities that we'll probably do when we take the young people, because now that we've got a youth club as such, we can take them out and do activities like that in Milton Keynes and other places. They want a warm place where they can hang out with their friends. That's all they want. I was asked today if there can be better shops, more young people focused. I was hoping personally for a new look when I'm on co-clothes, but beggars can't be choosers. So just some more things that are on their level, because I'm not sure the charity shops quite cater for what the young people like, though they are wonderful to have. And sorry, just lost my place. Yes, and I spoke to the workman who was working at the skate park today, and he said it should be finished by next weekend. Fine. Yeah, so that's really encouraging. We'll still be going out February and March as well. Like I said in the kids when I came to finish off our quota, as it were. But yeah, we're really pleased. The young people that have been coming to the club, some are regulars that have been coming always since it was run by BPC. And some are just brand new, some are the ones that we met out and about. So I'm assuming that some of the people I've met today for the first time will come tomorrow, and it just word of mouth gets out.
Brilliant.
So yeah, it's been really, really encouraging.
That's really
Great
great.
exercise. So thank you. We'll be on to the questions.
Before I take questions, I might have to come down on Tuesday, because our Thursday youth club is now closed. So our Thursday youth club is now closed at the youth centre, so it's only running a Friday club. So there's no Monday or Thursdays, so I'm now free.
What's your name? Sorry,
So,
I don't know everyone.
Lisa,
Sorry, Lisa. Thanks. Okay.
so I might have to come down and volunteer with you.
Wonderful. Yeah, you'd be more than welcome.
Right,
And I'm assuming you're already DBS, so you know, happy days.
Yeah.
Great.
Right, so yeah, Matt, let's ask a question.
Yeah, it's not actually a question, but just just for the record, 5 litres divided by 250 is 20, not
By
50.
200.
By 200, okay, but it's still not 50. It's 25.
Okay, well I gave out less then.
So,
I gave out 50 cups of hot chocolate.
okay, that's fine.
Thank you for correcting my math.
Sorry for being a pedant, but because it
No,
goes in the
that's
minutes.
I'd rather you mention it now than the minutes to be wrong and my maths be written down for everyone to see. Yeah.
Right, Howard, would you like to say something?
Just to say that the community board did conduct us, not survey, but conversation through the schools with the youngsters. They want exactly as you said, somewhere just to hang out. And we will be opening in the Chancery Chapel. Absolutely, National Trust building, just that.
Okay.
We're not organising it as such. It'll be a place where they can go and they can have tea or coffee or whatever, well, within reason, whatever they want. But
When will that be happening?
we have got a date. I don't want to say in case it doesn't happen.
No,
What I'll
will it,
do-
will it conflict with Tuesdays is what I'm thinking.
I don't know, but I think it's open
Okay.
negotiation. What
Okay,
I'll do is I've got Jill's email address, so I'll just email Jill.
brilliant. Thank you.
I just want to say a massive thank you to Project Street Life for conducting this. I understand the winter months are very, very bitter, especially as it's been recorded as -1 degree today, feeling like.
It's quite a lot.
I was going to say it's each time I look at my phone, it's recording. Feels like -5.
Yeah.
No, there's a problem. But I think that to get young people's views, I think a lot of people who are young people feel a bit isolated, or they don't know where to ask or who to talk to on these issues. And I just want to thank you so much for raising this with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, sounds like you're having a success, which is great. Will you be any data collection, things that you find interesting, things that children say that they might not say, because they might just say, well, this is something, are you recording all that so that we can sort of pick up on it on an undercurrent? Because sometimes there's things children say to someone that they won't say to somebody else. Become a trusted person. They sometimes tell you things that they won't say. And also, are you interacting with there are lots of values and crossovers and knowledge between people who are doing things, like you've got the young carers who obviously look after people who are carers, and then you've got the youth who try and make sure that we are a community looking at something rather than an individual looking at something.
Yeah, some of our regulars are young carers that come along.
Yeah.
And they chat to us about issues that they're having.
Because no one's ever got the children's opinions about something change of every child's generation and what they want and need. They don't need. It's interesting to hear that the skate park's going to be finished this week. Might get a photograph of the cabinet member on his own stood in the middle of the skate park again. But the children will be pleased to have it back. That's a fact. It's been a big gap in their lives. And I mean, we've discussed it endlessly here, John, Lisa, and myself. It'd be nice to see it back. And hopefully in the summer then we'll be doing some activity in the summer, planning to do an activity in there, which hopefully you'll contact through the office and be involved in, which will be an event which would seem logical that you will a partner in that event, and
That'd be great.
add something that we can add, which is an old chap stood there looking at young people doesn't really add much, but you know what I mean. If you're a place that's trusted, you add more than somebody else who just walks up to young people and say hello, I just want to talk to you. They don't like that really.
Yeah, the first time we went out with cupcakes and drinks, they just looked at me like we were absolutely mad.
Yeah.
But of course, you're talking as a child, aren't you? Don't talk to strangers. Someone off you,
Yeah.
1 mile. And here I am, it's like, have a drink, have a cake. So I felt a little bit like the child catcher. So mean that thing. But yeah, as we've been going there and building up relationships, you sort of see people going, oh, it's the hot chocolate lady, and they sort of run up to us, and the more and more young people are now seeing us, and they kind of know who we are now, which has been really encouraging. So we won't be doing it every month like we have been, but once
It's also a good thing
we'll
that
be going
somebody
down
else,
sporadically to keep touch with the young
Yeah.
they
people.
probably have a conversation you won't have with their parents as well, which is quite good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I can send you on my notes anyway on what the young people have said and any
I'll send
further.
them to the town clerk. and
Sorry?
Send them to the town clerk, really.
Yes, that's fine. I can send those over. Any further information that we get from young people about what they want or need, I can certainly send over to you.
But we at the youth club, we used a BART bus, because that was like a voluntary service. And then the young people, like the, you know, whether it's bowling or ice skating, it's usually covered by some kind of grant, so I can help out there as well.
I may just use the church bus as well, which I'll probably get for free.
Yeah.
I just can't drive it because I don't have a licence, so if anyone's got a C1D one that wants to volunteer to ride the minibus, that'd be great.
But the BART bus usually comes with the volunteer driver,
Driver, okay.
so it's quite useful.
Yeah, that's.
Get photographed a lot, the BART bus, doesn't it?
John?
It's great that you're engaging with. We're in the process of developing our next neighbourhood development plan. So there's lots of ideas within that about the shape of the town, you know, over the next 30 odd years. Sometimes it's quite hard answering questions like, well, what do you want? It's like such a broad question.
Yeah.
If you wanted, if it was helpful to you, I'm sure the office could give you some prompts to maybe say focus in on, you know, X or Y subject.
Yeah, that'd be
And
great.
explore that in particular.
Yeah.
Maybe from one week to the next, and that might help us
Yeah.
get a better insight where young people are at and what issues they've got. about,
Yeah.
I don't know, do they feel cramped in school, for example? You know, does the school feel crowded? Does it feel that it's okay? You know, those sort of insights are gold dust to us to help us sort of shape our neighbourhood plan, and that's in the draft form. It's percolating through. We'll probably go to referendum maybe later on this year.
Okay.
Is the plan. So contact the office, and there are people there who can advise you. Say, actually, we really would like to know their views about X or Y.
Just town clerk and things like
that would be-
Is that right?
Neighbourhood development.
Neighbourhood development.
You email me, I'll
Yeah.
Town clerk.
send it on to the appropriate person.
Sheena, you say?
Appropriate person.
Yeah. But otherwise, great. Pretty good. I mean, the skate park's been wonderfully bold. It does seem as if the guys have been basically chipping away at something. I'm thinking, really? Is that what you have to do? You know, I mean, that's what it's, you think you have a machine for that, but no,
You would think.
chipping away at these little sort of lumps and so again. But
I only know that information because he came up and said I need to move my car. There'll be a big lorry coming through, and I was like, all right, well, when the lorry arrives, you can tell us to move my car.
I think many of the children, John, who will be using it, taking their children with their parents now, aren't they?
well, probably, yeah, in the time it's taken to build it.
It'll be parents,
Yeah.
by now. I
Well, I've lived here for 5 years and it's been on Buckingham rights to you since I moved here, so I don't know.
So we. But great. Good stuff.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so if you can email the town clerk, maybe leave your phone number so I can
Yeah,
send you a text or something about coming down and. Because obviously you've got trained as well, so might be able to bring some resources with that.
brilliant. Okay, lovely.
Right, anybody else, or we're happy to let these lovely ladies go?
Go back to their central heating.
Thank you very much. for
Oh,
coming.
another meeting to go to now.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. It's really important. Let's go, ladies.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, item 6, the budget. Secret report from the town clerk. So we've got 2 recommendations. We sent it then to agreed to send the attached budget to preset meeting. And then 1.2 is recommended that preset meetings be asked to choose from either option 2.1 or option 2.2. Would you like to talk on this?
Yes, sorry, excuse me. So as we have all know, we have been looking at the budgets in our individual committees since about September. I think we first started looking at our options. And in that time, I'm constantly going back and forward over this year's budget as well. Again, same as last year, every budget line has been scrutinised. We haven't put a blanket percentage increase in. We have gone through every budget line. There are a few where we haven't been entirely certain, we've got no other information. Then we've gone for 4.5% as being our ballpark. What we think will be the inflation cost over the course of the next financial year. Obviously, it's across the entire of the financial year, so. I suppose that we've talked about it a lot. Every single budget line has been gone over. Once I've done the sums and put it into the precept calculator, the number of houses is actually, taxable has actually gone down fractionally. It's about 10. So not a lot, but it means that there was no increase, which I'm sure we all possibly hoped for, that we would go up slightly, but we haven't. So there are two funding options that I have put forward. One is that we go for an increase of 8.61%, which is an increase of £17.97 a year for a Band D property. That would mean putting the 30,000 back into our general reserve. Sorry, I'm explaining well. I'm anticipating we will be under budget this year by about £30,000. This is due to the fact that we have raised considerably more income than we expected. Grants and various other, and interest and various other funding sources. The option, which would be my slight recommendation, however, it is obviously up to yourselves which one to go for, would be that we use the 30,000 saving, put 30,000 of the £33,000 saving anticipated back into next year's budget, and we look to have an increase on the precept of 5.85%, which is an increase of £12.22 on a Band D property, so just over £1 a month. And I think that that's a sensible, small c conservative budget. Not cut anything too tight. Again, there's some matters to be discussed in the confidential staffing section at the end of it. And this budget's been put together with the anticipation that they will be agreed. So there is money there to cover the sickness that may be ongoing for the entire year without leaving us tight or leaving any, well, without things getting difficult and none of us having resourcing issues towards the end of the year. Does anybody have any questions?
No questions. Thank the town clerk and the involved in preparing the budget. Quite happy to agree the recommendation that we send both figures to the priest. That also allows the whole council to take a decision over the precept rather than recommend something and then they ask why they weren't going to do it. We are fortunate that we are in a position to use money to bring it down, but we suffered the same as inflation and everything else that every other person, every other business. So I think you've done a very good job to keep it down to those two figures, to be frankly honest. So, and we must applaud you for that. As you quite rightly pointed out, every committee is met at least once or twice and discussed these budgets. It's everybody in the council can attend any council meeting and raise any issues about any budget. There's no question there. So happy to recommend that we take these to council as we do so.
So you're going for the first recommendation you're okay with, but the 1.2 you'd rather not recommend anything, send that decision to full council.
Yes.
That is what
That's what.
that's what 1.2 says,
Yeah.
that both options be
Yeah,
sent.
and I think that allows full council to make the decision on whether they choose the one or the other, rather than that decision.
Yeah.
Okay, Andy?
Thank you very much. I think I'll first start by thanking the town clerk for taking some extra time to go through some of the figures with me, for that and minimize the amount of questions I had. And I also like to commend the different committees for the work they've done on their various projects. But the topic here today is the precept and how much the increase will be. Looking at the figures we have here, we've got 8.61 or 5.85, which would include us using savings from previous years. Now, my concern is actually the amount of increase. Looking at what our CPI for next year is going to be, it's projected to be there about 2.1, 2.2. Even if we multiply that by 2 to be cautious, that gets us about 4.4 thereabout. I think if we look at the trajectory we took on from last year, and the massive increase we had, I think putting on another 5.85, which seems like the most mostly conservative figure, our residents would be saddled with. I think that would still be a little too high. If there was any way we could get to a 4.4, I think that would be ideal. This is not tackling any of the different budgets that have been submitted. I know that's been discussed, but now we have a figure, and that figure is 5.85. I am slightly reluctant to look at that 5.85 as an ideal with the circumstances that we currently have. And I would rather we had a lower figure. If the town clerk, I did have a chat with her, but she says those figures have been agreed by the different committees, and so I'm talking about that, but the precept itself and what we've gotten to now is way above even the CPI for next year. It's almost triple it. So that's what my reservation is. And I'll shade it in, literally for the clarification around that.
Thank you. Ryan was next, and then Mayor.
No, I didn't have mine.
Oh, what, your hand up?
No, just
Hold his face.
molding the face up.
Anya?
Okay, so I hear what you're saying, what councillor Ossie-Bogan is saying. I believe that assuming a CPI of 2 point something would be extremely risky. It's not a risk that I feel we should be taking. And therefore, I am also of the opinion that we should put the two options as they are to the precept meeting.
Okay, so you're going to second?
Yes, in effect, therefore, I'm seconding
Thank you.
councillor Slattery.
Anybody else would like to speak on this? No? No? Okay. All right, so recommendation 1.1 is that we send the attached budget to precept meeting. And so should we vote for that? So those in favour, please? No? Yeah. And those against? Most abstaining. Okay, so 1.2 is recommended at the precept meeting be asked to choose from either option 2.1 or option 2.2. Those who agree for 1.2, please show. Okay, those against? Abstaining. Did you get those numbers okay, Paul? Okay. So we don't need to discuss this any further, because we send it to precept. Thank you very much. Okay, so budgets, item 7. To receive and agree the budget report. 5.1, we've got the income and expenditure report, appendix B. And I will use the page numbers in the top left hand on the screen. So it's 13, it's 31. Anybody got something? 13. It's cool. No. Page 14. Oh, Don, was that 13 or 14?
It's 14.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay, yeah, just to clarify, the cost of the 2 by-elections is now at a figure of 18,600, more or less.
Yeah.
It was at one point, I thought it was about 20,000, but it's now 18,600.
It is, we had a small amount of money in their arms that we took and sold for electric.
Oh, I see, but the opening cost still was about 20 grand.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right, thank you.
Put your hand up. Ryan, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, it was just a question about the photocopier use of, I think it was 200 and on page 13, so I got a bit.
Yeah, do you
I think it was
have
226% is that.
Yes, we budgeted, we would make £5 from photocopying, we've made 11.
Oh, perfect.
It all helps.
Very small sample.
It's like,
That will balance the budget.
Exactly, we're sorted.
We've done for now, we've got everything we need.
Page 15 of 31. Page 16 of 31. Seventeen of 31. Eighteen of 31, John?
Yeah, is there a story why the rates on the cemetery were budgeted a lot less than they actually were? Is there a story there at all?
The rates on the cemetery,
Yeah, 42.5, the spend is 208.4%, and the explanation is under budgeted.
we are still looking at that one. We were a little bit surprised by how much that came out of and do some research. I will report back in more detail once I've got that finalised.
Okay, thank you, Claire.
Thank you. Page 19 of 31. Page 20 of 31. Page 21. Page 22. Page 23. And then we've got the appendix C, page 24, 31. Page 25.
NLP traffic,
What page is that? 24, 29?
24.
Number,
138,022.
On the 31st of December 23.
Yeah, that's the road closure for Christmas parade.
That was the total cost, was it?
That's the cost for their very specific bits, so they do the roundabout that goes up. Sorry, the roundabout,
Stafford Road.
that's, yeah, the complicated one that we use a manual.
And the VAT is recoverable,
That should be the cost to us that is there.
and the VAT is recoverable.
That should be without any VAT if it's recoverable.
Okay, but the VAT is shown there as 11425.
Yes,
So we would pay the VAT back on that or not?
VAT is tricky.
Don't worry, just
I would expect we would be able to claim VAT back on that.
that's not a bit tricky in cases.
VAT is fine. I can't think of any off the top of my head that we would claim that back.
Yeah, okay.
okay, page 25, Robin?
Yeah, just to say, is that figure at the bottom, on Oak Park, is that the total for CCTV, or is that how that breaks down? Because it doesn't look quite enough money, or is that not the scheme that we're doing? It's just the
What page?
page 25, the one you said of 31, at the bottom,
Oh, yeah.
Oak Park.
All up from.
CCTV, because I mean, I was in budget scrutiny all week, and Annie was there 2 days last week, and it seems that people were struggling to do CCTV across Buckinghamshire. So the fact that we're actually still doing it and investing in it and bringing it up, it's quite good. I just wanted to know what that actually figure occurs to. Is it It doesn't look, it looks too small a figure to me, remembering,
It's not the figure for the whole of the.
that's what I was gonna say, it looks very
For that
small.
call out and repair.
Yeah, that's what I meant, yeah, it's too small a figure, I mean, we will discuss that at another meeting, but it's a small figure of repair. But it is worth noting that we are one of the few, that we discussed about CCTV and it seems that other areas are struggling to provide, renew and do whatever, so I think.
No, it's not the full CCTV budget, that's a separate one, but that was obviously comes
That's
out.
in
of
the
the
budget for the committees, isn't
Comes
it?
out of the CCTV.
Yeah, but,
It does say they call that repair.
yeah, that's fine, thank you.
Thank you. Right, page 26. Page 27. Where's back up on the agenda also? So, the next, the schedule of direct debits and standing orders, we happy to receive those?
Yes.
Yeah.
Received.
Line fund transfers, we've been on to it last meeting, that's an easy one.
I receive them.
Item 10, additional, let's go into Christmas parade expenditure. Does anybody have any questions on that one? Item 11, updates from reps on outside bodies. So, who would like to go first?
Very briefly, just I was called upon at fairly short notice to stand in on the on Buckinghamshire Council's budget scrutiny work and finish or something group.
Task and finish group.
Task and finish group, thank you. Last Tuesday and last Thursday, during which I learned quite a lot about how the council works. So even though it obviously took 3 unexpected days out of my schedule, which is why I'm behind with everything else, I did manage to ask a few questions. My overall impression is it's going to be well, I think they say it's going to be a balanced budget. It's going to be a balanced budget. It makes a number of assumptions, which I understand why they need to be made, but if they don't come to pass, this could be problematic. We can also, basically what I'm saying, let's not assume any largesse from Buckinghamshire Council, because like all councils across the country, finances are tight.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that's in summary what I would say. There are certain risks attached to if suddenly the costs do not stack up or inflation is higher than assumed, then there are risks attached that would obviously then affect the spending on non-statutory spending. Yeah. It wasn't very technical, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's a good idea that you were there then, so if you learnt from it, then you can always impart that wisdom here as you just did, so thank you for.
Yeah, so yeah.
Thanks. Robin?
Yeah, I was at all 3 days of budgets really. And I will say that it's yes, it's a balanced budget and it's got more unknowns and it has got unknowns. One of the things which was evident in adult and social care is that very difficult budget for them to balance. That knowing what the outcomes are going to be, where it is, the fact that, as was spoken in the meeting, that where they thought there was going to be a change, there wasn't a change. The fact that they are unable to necessarily plan, they did a very good case of making out how they were going to balance the budget. I do feel sorry for the officers and the cabinet member because it's really a high profile budget and it's high profile and they really need a direction, which was stated endlessly. We need a direction from government about how they're going to go with this. And that was clearly made throughout the meeting by all members. And that was clear. The other one was, of course, children's services and education, which is both statutory budgets. I've still not worked out quite what they meant by, and which will mean I'll probably have to put some more questions at some point, what they meant by working smarter for less money. I've been around Buckinghamshire and County Council long enough to know that when they worked smarter for less money in the past, it created the situation we're in today. So I'm not sure that that is where they need to go. I do respect the fact that cabinet members got a job. There are some good things in there, in the sense that they are moving forward with their recovery plan from an Ofsted, and they're hoping beyond hope that the next stage of inspections will be the inspections. The inspections after that might be a full Ofsted inspection. At that stage, they might find out whether they can get good from, which is where they want them to be. Forget where you are. We want them to have a good service. So that might happen. The road traffic and the portfolio for which everyone talks about a lot. It is what it is for highways, and it's what's in there. If I had any comment on it, it seems strange that we have a 1-year revenue budget and a 5-year and a 3-year capital budget. There are explanations in the meeting if you want to listen to it, but it seems strange because that's assuming that what your revenue is 3 years, which unfortunately all local authorities are batting against the wind on this. There won't be a section 141 this year because it's a balanced budget. Every year's an additional year. We don't know what's going to be in there. Of course, what threw the local authority out is inflation, which is what Claire's been dealing with for our precept. The unknowns, COVID, what Claire's dealt with in previous years, which in itself serves costs to the local authority. So we are way out. And on another day, I went down to Wickham for my sins, and hopefully we've got to a position where the recommendations will go to the Growth and Infrastructure Select Committee and the HASC. Once we've read them, to make sure there's no more amendments on exactly how you get to this situation where developments support health infrastructure. It's a really complicated, difficult, arduous, painful and poisonous subject, to say the least. It's not about Buckingham, the report's about Buckinghamshire. So when you read the report, don't read it as Buckingham, read it as Buckinghamshire. And that's most important to do it because it was a Buckinghamshire report. But it will allow you to see what the recommendations are. All recommendations are a mixture of opinions and negotiations. So but that will then hopefully go forward and hopefully then go to cabinet at some point. And hopefully, if all the parties which it's been recommended accept the recommendations, which I expect they won't, nature of the parties, but you will get some information. Because I know it's been a concern to everyone, and my colleague Howard serves on an extra health committee now, bless him. So he's well done with health. Is that thing, so that I think when that report comes out, it might be something that the Environment Committee, who has a remit around health, should sort of read through, and see what they get out of the recommendations to understand it rather than pontificate a view over it.
Right, thanks, Robin. Right, Howard?
I'll just say that majority of the council budget actually goes on adult social care and education.
Yeah.
We talk about wriggle room, which is a term I hate, but it's very, very small, in which the council is forced to operate. And despite the promises the government made last year, none of those have actually come to fruition. And there are a lot of councils which are in an extremely bad way. Buckinghamshire, as Andy said, Robin, it will have a balanced budget, but it isn't easy. It's, we know about COVID, but of course the Ukrainian situation did not help either. And there's lots of other unpredictables that have happened, inflation being one of them. So is not good news. But the council will carry on.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Danny.
Yes, just to add to what councillor Lodge just said, I think for more specifics, I think there's going to be an increase of 2.99 in the basic rates of council tax and 2% in adult social care. We would have investments about 6.56 million to spend on capital projects. A lot of that we spent on roads, housing and homeless, change in fraud management. And there'll be 37.6 million on town centre regeneration and economic growth. So yes, it will be a balanced budget. There'll be an increase in council tax, and also there'll be hopefully there'll be a lot of projects which we can do within Buckingham town.
Very good, thank you. Robin?
I think it's interesting when we started looking at, as we've gone through the travel projection, social care precepts now a heavy part of the large part of the precept. And when we started in 2010, it wasn't part of the precept. Trying to ascertain from the Section 51 officer what the total amount of social care precept is. I do have figures, but I'm waiting to see whether his figures match mine. I've asked these questions times before, because what you realise is social care precept is a new tax, it's an additional tax, it's replacing local government support grant, and this is a tax on people who are retired on fixed incomes. It's a tax on people who are on low incomes. It's a tax on people who are working poor or working whatever. And the thing with social care precept, it is needed to support the service, but it is not a income related tax. So in that effect, it is very much taxing some of the people who actually receive services. I do hope that when there's a change of heart, you can never replace that amount of money in one hit. I do think there has to be a change direction to, at some point, at least to say we're going to try and find to do that, because I think it's 25% of 30%, depending on what figures you read, of local government grant, which has gone, and that money's gone to fund other things or pay down debt. So I think it's a big fact, which we don't have to do social care precept.
So, but much as this is quite an interesting discussion, I'm slightly straying out of the remit of this is going to chair. Thank you.
Okay, John, do you have your hand up?
Well, I'll shut up, give more pairs, just say.
Thank you, John. Okay, anybody else from outside organisations? No.
I would like to ask a question, but I don't think it's for this committee. It's, I mean, my asking was just whether or not has there been an increase in, as we're seeing in Buckingham Town itself, an increase in homelessness, as there are more people on the streets. Granted, that's a relatively small number at the moment, but what other funding is going into homeless provision at the moment? Do we have a concrete figure at the moment, or how will that compare to last year? And also, are we getting our value for money?
It was raised in the meeting. I can't give you the details now, but I can go back to the pack and find you the information I have.
Thank you.
25 million
25 million, okay.
being proposed towards homelessness, and that
This current year, okay.
It might be something that we can talk about for council, maybe. See it on both Buckingham and.
Yeah.
It does, we're not here to scrutinise counties, but
Yeah.
No.
we need to be a little bit careful of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
no doubt about our conversation outside this chair.
Inviting them.
Figures are there when Annie will send them you.
Okay,
Excellent.
right, so that's item 11 done. Item 12, action report. Review and discuss. Next each. Anybody got anything on that?
know the issues that need discussing now on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so, the announcements, you don't have any, yours? Date next meeting, Monday, 4th of March, which is the branch meeting. And, we have an agreement going to private session.
Proposed we do so.
Yeah.
Yeah.